Thank you all for being here today. We're excited to talk to you more about ProLink Plus to support your Homeowner Assistance Fund deployment needs and our full solution of services included as part of our technology offering. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into our presentation, which you should be able to see. Today, our speakers, I'm Bree Kruder, the EVP of ProLink Solutions, and I'm joined by Josh Brown, the Director of Strategic Initiatives for E&A Team. E&A Team is a partner of ours in providing program plan consulting and training as part of our solution model. And then Leonard Magliola is our Senior Product Owner at ProLink, and he is going to be demonstrating some of our software today. And then quickly going over our agenda, I'm going to give a brief overview of ProLink. I'm going to go over briefly our delivery model for ProLink Plus and our HAF solution. And then I'm going to hand it over to Josh to discuss HAF planning. We are in the thick of doing so with some of our existing clients for HAF, and so he's going to shed some light there before we hand it off to Leonard for the majority of the time to demonstrate our newly updated homeowner application portal and our agency portal. So these are existing tools we've had for some time now, but they recently got some facelifts. They're a little bit more modern looking, and we've released the updates to support HAF since they originally supported HHF and other emergency funds. Now they have been updated to include a lot more HAF-specific updates. So that is the bulk of what we're going to be covering today. Just a quick note, I have a mix of attendees today, both some who attended our last webinar. We last hosted a 90-minute session around, it was May 26th, and that session covered all of the topics I just described in much more detail. So I have Ryan, my helper behind the scenes, who's going to be posting the link to that recording in the chat so you can view that recording if you're here for the first time and you don't have that context. Again, this is going to be a shorter 30-minute session focused on some of the new releases that we've brought into our technology. So you can find a lot more information in that recorded session, and then we're going to continue to host these webinars throughout the summer at different lengths and in different levels of depth on both our technology and our full solution offering. So just so everybody understands. Excuse me. Okay. So quickly going over ProLink Solutions. We've been in the affordable housing industry for about 23 years now, supporting many different clients across state and local housing finance agencies, tax credit syndicators and investors and developers. We have also supported emergency fund deployment needs, specifically and most relatably to HAF. We supported the HHF emergency fund in the earlier 2000s. So we are specializing in building holistic technology platforms. Our goal is really to support the whole life cycle of these projects. So if it's an emergency fund, we're talking about from that initial application all the way through compliance and audit, that whole life cycle, making sure that we meet the requirements at every step along the way and provide the visibility and effectiveness in delivering these funds to those who qualify as quickly as we can. Same thing with our tax credit and other tools. It's really about that full life cycle of those deals from that initial origination all the way through that audit and ongoing compliance and asset management. That's really what we try to do, is build these holistic systems to support our clients across departments, but also then connecting people together, making sure that we are doing our best to connect homeowners, get them through that application process as seamlessly as possible. And on the tax credit side, it's connecting you with your partners and developers and other folks involved. So it's really kind of the core of every solution that we build. Our team is made up of dedicated mission-driven folks. We're technologists, we're industry experts, and we're dedicated to the affordable housing industry. So quickly, this is just a snapshot of our customer, some of our customers. We have this separated out by products. So you can see ProLink HFA, which is more on the tax credits investment side, working with a number of housing agencies there. We also support HHF. We have some of our new ProLink Plus clients who are listed here, and then ProLink AIM and FHA for those syndicators and investors. And then quickly covering our delivery model. So if you're new and haven't participated in some of the webinars we've hosted before today, this is sort of a bird's eye view of ProLink Plus and kind of representing also the services that we can provide along the way in delivering your and deploying your HAF program. So ProLink Plus is our technology, which is centered right in the middle, connecting all of these parties together. On the left-hand side, you can see our homeowner portal represented. And then on the right-hand side, we have our agency backend portal represented, both of which Leonard will touch on today. So you can see our program manager right above there. That program manager is either, someone that we support you with, a part of our service offering, or that's your housing agency who's taking on that responsibility. And they are really helping to facilitate and manage all these different parties involved in the process of having that homeowner on the left submit that application through that electronic application submission process that Leonard's going to focus on. We also have call center support and counselor services that we can help with as part of our offering if that's needed by your agency. And then once those applications are successfully submitted, it is available to you in ProLink Plus through the agency backend portal. That's where your processing, your eligibility determination is happening in any kind of underwriting or escalation. That's where all of that is taking place before those payments are then dispersed out to those servicers and those mortgage holders, which you see on the far right-hand side. We also have a lot of reporting, all the required reporting for the emergency fund to Treasury and HUD and your state housing agency. We have dashboards and a lot of other good tools to use to make sure that you can export and get that data out to the parties who require it all along the way, both in kind of some ad hoc reporting, but then also having our structured Treasury reporting and other things available to you in the system. So that is a very quick overview. Just again, if you're new, we do have a number of services that we have access to. We work with partners as subcontractors to ProLink to supply both the technology and any services required. Our goal is to build a turnkey solution for you and also gain efficiencies through having these partners in place and working with us today. That means training is happening today. They're familiar with our systems. We're advising on plans, on your program plans based off of what we know to be true, about the way our technology was built, about our experience with HHF and how things have gone with the engagements we're already supporting for HAF. So it is a really good and efficient system. If you need any support in these areas across program plan consulting, which is again provided by ENA, call center support, underwriting and processing, program management and staffing, that can include payment processing and counseling support, and then obviously our compliance verifications and quality control throughout the life of this program. So those are all things that we can talk about if they are required. Quickly talking about timeline. So obviously this is an emergent need. It's something that needs to be, the HAF program needs to be executed well and with good coordination, but also as quickly as possible. Our goal is really to provide the tools and the solution to get these funds allocated as quickly and efficiently as possible to qualified homeowners. So we are looking at for those who are interested or planning to do a pilot program as part of your overall program, we're looking at about a 4-week minimum to get those pilots up and running. And that is actually happening with existing clients. We're training on a pilot right now as we speak today. So it is happening. The tools are ready to go, and it's really about starting to build that program and all of these different stages that you can see represented on this slide as part of the process in delivering that pilot, making sure your configuration and your initial training is complete to support that pilot. And then what we do in the pilot starts to inform and trickle into what we have to do for the overall program implementation, which is about a 6-week start to finish, from the initial kind of kickoff on the project to our go live date for the program. We're looking at about a 6-week time frame without any sort of customization. So that's if just kind of focusing on configuration and all the other different pieces of training that we need to do to get these different groups and pieces up and running, whether that's through partners, through your own service providers, or through agency staff. So that is just to give you a little bit of an idea on the timeline we're looking at. And again, we're already executing this timeline with existing HAF ProLink Plus customers. With that, I'm going to pass it off to Josh for just a couple minutes before Leonard takes over to give us that live presentation.
Thanks, Bree. So we want to make sure that you all have as much time as possible to see the demo of the ProLink Plus system, so I'll keep my comments brief. Now, by now, most of you are familiar to some extent with these 5 major components that are part of the HAF plan and when it's expected to be delivered to Treasury. So for today's discussion, I'm going to briefly touch just on some of what we are seeing in our early engagements and how the ProLink delivery model is helping participants make effective and efficient decisions while you're developing these plans. So by now, most participants are at various stages in the development of that HAF plan. Some of you have started the process of soliciting public input, collecting data to understand the need in your jurisdictions, and some have actually drafted or started drafting a plan. Now, I want to emphasize that identifying, collecting, and analyzing that available data is about the delinquent loans in your jurisdiction is one of the most important aspects and the best starting place in helping to guide your program decisions that you're going to put in your plan. We've observed in our current engagements that some early assumptions by some of the HAF participants get challenged when actual data is collected and analyzed, and that includes some things like the average delinquency amount per applicant, potential maximum funding amounts that may be necessary to fully reinstate mortgages and pay other delinquent associated property costs. Additionally, analyzing this data effectively can give you a head start on knowing what loan servicers you may be required to deal with and exactly what your target population volume looks like. And you can then begin reaching out to these servicers and establishing these relationships that you're going to need when it comes to time to communicate with them regarding these loans and ultimately disperse payments. Now, the analysis can also give you an opportunity to categorize certain subsets of your population and create a process to expedite processing of some of these applications and get funds into the hands of those who need it more quickly. Now, E&A team's goal as part of the ProLink team is to get involved early in your planning process and to help guide the design of your HAF plan and your programs to achieve multiple objectives. We're seeking to help guide the program design to ensure that it fits well within the existing structure and framework of the software solution and to minimize variations and customizations that can extend implementation timelines. We also want to use our work with multiple participants to incorporate best practices and lessons learned and other commonalities from other participants that are using the ProLink Plus platform. We're looking to leverage the knowledge that we're obtaining by assisting you in your plan design when we deliver the training later during your implementation. Being involved early in the process and the design helps us make sure that the training is properly attuned to your needs. We also provide some direction as you're developing your business processes regarding how you're going to utilize the software. We're going to take what we learn from participants who are operating pilot programs now or getting ready to stand those up and incorporate that knowledge into other participants' plans to help us mitigate potential problems that could arise during your program administration, and ultimately provide effective compliance monitoring by having a solid understanding of your program parameters when performing compliance reviews for quality control later in the process. So additionally, a common source of delays in any new program implementation is inadequate attention to required business processes and tasks necessary to perform the work of the program. So just keep in mind the software is a tool and it has to be integrated into the workflow of the organization. And business processes include a combination of both manual tasks and software tasks that move these applications through to completion. So part of what we strive to do is to help ensure that you're thinking through those manual tasks and workflow processes early during your planning phase, and that this can also speed up the implementation process and get HAF participants to the point of dispersing funds more quickly. Now, here in a couple of minutes, Leonard's going to take you through a demo of the homeowner portal and the agency portal and show you what the system is designed to do. So while you're watching that, I just want to encourage you to be thinking about who will be performing certain tasks, who will be verifying that you've received all the documentation that you need from the applicant, who's going to be reviewing that application and documentation and making decisions confirming income eligibility and hardship. Do you have your plan for assisting applicants who may not have access to the internet or have other impediments to submitting that application? Are there requirements that you're considering your plan that are required by the regulation and Treasury guidance, or are they more stringent than required? And have you considered the impact of a program requirement on the administrative process required to execute it? So ultimately, is the administrative burden acceptable to you related to the perceived benefit of that rule? Now, these are just some of the questions that we've helped other HAF participants already engaging in this planning process to consider and navigate as they build up their pilot program and they've begun to draft their HAF plan for the full program. A benefit of the ProLink delivery model that Bree described earlier is that these questions have been considered, and there are other service team members that have been gathered who can fill these roles if you need them, or you can bring your own staff or vendors to fill these roles, allowing you to create a solution that works for you. So I just encourage you, as I get ready to turn this over to Leonard, to be thinking about those things and how you intend to effectuate this process as you're seeing how the software handles these applications. So Leonard, I will turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Josh. My name is Leonard Magliola. I'm a product owner here at ProLink Solutions, and today I'm going to provide you with some updates to show you the latest developments to ProLink software solution for the Homeowner Assistance Fund, and that's ProLink Plus. Give me 1 second here to share my screen with you. This is ProLink Plus. And this is our Homeowner Assistance Portal, where we applicants can enter all their application data in order to apply for your program. This site is responsive and will look good on a variety of different size devices, including mobile devices as well. And I may be showing the desktop version of this as we go through this, but I actually find this mobile site to be pretty easy to use, so I'll probably be working through this mobile site for quite a bit of it of the demo here. We are still in the process of making improvements to this and identifying those improvements, and we will continue to roll those out as we get close to launching our first pilot program and hopefully some of your projects as well sometime soon. The site does support multiple languages translated by Google, so we can get it into a variety of languages for all of your applicants' needs. And it is also going to be accessible. We are targeting WCAG and Section 508 accessibility standards so that everyone can get applications submitted here. An account is required to create a new application. This allows us to verify your email address and your telephone number as you're going through the process. And it also allows us to look up your application later on by your email address or your phone number so that we can review with you any answers you may have given to questions, or just look at your application for any questions that you may have on the process. I'm going to go through the beginning process here with a brand new application, and then I'm going to jump over to an application that has some data already filled into it, because I don't think we're here to see my data entry speeds as we go through this process. So I will enter in email address and a password, and then I'll have to enter in a phone number here so that we can verify that as we're getting everything set up. So this is multi-factor authentication. We will send codes out to the email addresses and the telephone number to verify that we have the correct contact information and that we are checking the security on everybody as they log into the system. So this is a code that I just received, and yes, it did come that quickly to us. And verify that information, and now I'll log back to the account here. go through a cell phone verification as well. As I said before, we're still continuing to identify some ways that we can improve this. And so we'll keep pushing out new releases over the next few weeks and as needed going on after that. Okay, so I'm verifying my cell phone number here. In the first step in the application process, we're going to be asked how we found out about the program. So I'll answer that real quick. And then we're given the option to select a program to apply to. Presently, I only have one program here, but we can have multiple programs that the applicant can choose from. And you can also have some program subtypes that you can choose from as well, which is an optional feature if you want to allow people to self-categorize into different subsets of programs. The next step in the process is to go into our pre-qualification process. The first step there is to answer what question we're applying our property is in. And so I'll select, what county our property is in. I'll select Montgomery County, and we'll enter the number of persons at this address. This information is important because as we get to the next step in our pre-qualification screens, we'll be able to ask a targeted question about this applicant's AMI. In this particular case, this question here, asking if the applicant's total annual household income from all sources is less than $101,400, is based on the 150% AMI for Montgomery County with 4 household members in the house, and 150% AMI being the upper limit there of folks who can qualify for the program. The rest of the questions, and all of these questions actually, can be modified for your needs, for your program needs, so they can be completely customized here. And so let me just go through these and make sure I'm answering all of these questions correctly here. We're not part of cooperative. We're not in active bankruptcy. Let's go ahead and check our eligibility for this program. And so we get to the screen here that says you are pre-qualified for the Homeowner Assistance Program. That's great. We're given an application number and we are assigned an intake clerk, somebody at our agency who can jump in and help us get our application submitted. We also have some additional instructions down below on how to apply for this program. If we click continue to personal information, this is where we get into the point in the process where we can actually fill out all of our application details. I'm actually going to log out of this account now and go into one where I've already filled out some of those details just in the interest of time here. This is going to ask me to verify the code again through SMS, and one more time. It's come in already. So we'll enter our code and get into our application. And I do apologize. It looks like I must have selected the wrong application here as I was entering this. So I am going to just enter the data because I would have from the beginning. So let's go ahead and enter the data here. So this will take a little bit longer to get through. You'll be able to see a little bit more of the app and spend a little bit more time taking a close look at it. So there's no co-borrower actually. We're going to say we're single. We can collect information on co-borrower and spouses. Oh, sorry, that's primary phone type. Time. Enter the address. Wrong button and jump to the next page there. 25500, and then number of dependents on the property is 2. We're already pre-filling out other information when they already know about this application as we can. We do ask a question here to allow the applicants to self-identify as socially disadvantaged. We present some text here that allows them to try and determine for themselves whether they meet that category. This text will be updated as well as we continue to refine the process here, but they're given options of yes, no, or I'm not sure, I need some help deciding whether or not I meet this definition. So that just helps give the agency an opportunity to try and get a head start on looking at whether or not they may or may not meet some of those requirements. I will answer some demographic data and then a hardship reason, which are also customizable to the needs of your agency for your particular program. We do ask them to type a description of what their hardship is as well. For unemployment information, we can collect unemployment benefit details. We can collect employer information as well if any of that is relevant. In this particular case, just in the interest of time, I'm going to move forward on that. We'll ask for some property information, such as what the last appraised value is, what we plan on doing with the property, who's staying there or not. I pay the taxes and they are current. I pay the hazard insurance to my insurance company. We'll continue on to the mortgage. For the mortgage information here, you can select from a predetermined list of mortgages, or you can enter another mortgage servicer if it's not in the list. And same thing for lenders, although lender information is not required. Loan number in here, our current balance, delinquency status, our payment amount, what day of the month our payment is due, and our current interest rate and loan type. Okay, here we collect some income information. If we did want to present some, or if they did have some to provide, they can provide information on their current salary, any other additional income sources they may have, such as child support, and any of those other categories that we have presented here. And we can enter in some of our expense information as well if we have particular expenses. And if we don't have a category for expenses, we can always hand type in other expenses, other things that we have to pay for in a regular basis. If we have bankruptcy, we can track additional details about that as part of the application. But I'm going to continue forward to our review and submit process. This screen here shows the applicant how much of the application they have completed already and whether or not there are any other fields that they need to complete. So they can see all the data points that they've entered. If they have missed anything, they'll be given some icons here letting them know that they need to complete that information, and they can jump back to that section to fill that detail out. Once all of the sections have green going down the side of the screen here, we know we've got enough information to submit this application, and we do present to the applicant a hardship affidavit document that they do need to sign before they can submit their application here. And so in this particular case, with only one person on this application, we will just click send for signatures. And I will get an email address to that verified email message to that verified email address asking me to sign the hardship affidavit that is custom to your agency. So I've just clicked on that link that I received by email. I get my DocuSign process here, agree to DocuSign's terms. We'll have your hardship affidavit here for your applicants to apply to. They can click on the sign button here, and they're given some options on how they want their signature style to look, or if they would rather draw their signature, they can do that as well. And then they can adopt and sign the document. If we come back to our application after finishing the application process, we can pretty quickly see that. I'll refresh the screen. We have now officially signed this document. We are now ready to submit our application to the agency. So I'll go ahead and click submit here. And this is going to submit that on the backside. I see we're running up against time here. I'm going to keep going through this because I know we've got a little bit of a late start here, and I'll keep talking for a few more minutes. There's just a few key things I do want to show here on this screen, and then jump over to our agency portal real quick just to show a couple of fast updates, and then I will wrap it up shortly after that. So if you can stick around, please do. After submitting our application, we do get dropped into our dashboard. We are not only have our intake clerk that was previously assigned to our application, we now have a counselor in here, which is part of our assignment engine, which can assign users into the system based on their role for the application processing. And then down below, we also present some information on this program, what stage this application is in. This particular case, this application is in stage 2 of 8. We give an explanation of what stage 2 means, and can also provide additional details about the other stages that this application will move through as it goes through its life cycle. Okay. One other thing on the homeowner portal before I jump over to the agency portal here is our supporting files. Supporting files is a list of documents that the applicant should consider submitting in support of their application. And we do have, this is configurable to your agency, which documents are provided. And if the documents have accompanying forms that the applicant needs to fill out, those can be downloaded right from here filled out, and then re-uploaded back into the system from here. This will also work on your mobile devices if your applicants want to submit photos of documents or anything along those lines. Multiple documents of each type can be uploaded here in support of that application, and counselors and intake clerks will help guide the applicant through any additional documents they may need to present. Okay, so that's an overview of the homeowner portal and the new look and feel of that homeowner portal. On the agency portal side, I'm going to jump over to the back office software now. And this is a view of our executive overview screen. This is a new dashboard that we are putting together for the homeowner assistance program. And so this is just kind of a sneak peek of some of the work that's in development, though it's not quite yet finalized at this point in time. And so I'm certainly excited about some of these options here for viewing data about the applications in the system. More specifically to the HAF program, we have made some changes to our applications, particularly the program qualification screen, which is our underwriting screen for the application. I'm going to browse my way over to an application where we can take a look at that. But on the way here, I'm going to stop at our My Queue screen, which allows you to view applications that are assigned to you in all of the various stages of processing in the system here. Applicants who are assigned to, or sorry, users who are assigned to applications in here can quickly come over and see just those applications to which they are assigned, or you can look at applications across all of the users that are using the system. And you can also filter applications by criteria such as whether or not there are federal loan programs on the application, whether or not the application has been assigned to any of these variety of categories for the HAF program, such as under 100% AMI, under 150% AMI, or under 150% AMI plus socially disadvantaged, or other kind of categories that we can filter down here to help you focus your attention when you're looking for applications to work on in the process. In this particular case, I want to find an application that's in one of our later stages. So I'm going to jump to this application in stage 4 so that I can show you our new program qualification screen. Most importantly about this screen is just some of the additional information that we're collecting and providing in support of the Homeowner Assistance Fund, particularly details about AMIs and NMIs. So based on the applicant's reported income, we can calculate out their annual income and then also go from there and calculate out what their percent of AMI is for the county and number of individuals who are living in that household right now. We have also added some features to allow underwriters to put in underwriter assumed incomes, and then also calculate AMI and NMI percentages based off that. And then of course, those percentages can be used for determining whether or not the applicant is eligible for a particular, for the HAF program in particular here. We've also added details about the applicant here, such as whether or not they self-identified as socially disadvantaged, along with their demographics for any of the applicants, the co-borrowers and the homeowner, as far as race, ethnicity, and gender here as well. And we've provided some ways that applications can be classified into a variety of categories here. So we kind of talked about this option here a little bit on the My Queue screen, but now as an application is being processed, we can definitively assign applications into one of these categories, and we can report on those out of our data views, which give you access to all of the underlying data in the system. Okay. So I've talked about the 3 main ones that I really wanted to go through here today. There are a variety of other screens where we have made updates throughout the system and are making changes. And there are other really useful and interesting screens to look at in here. If you haven't seen all of this before, please reach out to us and let us know that you'd like to see more. This is our stages screen that allows us to track and move applications through the various stages and also ensure that we are meeting all of the requirements for those stages. And then finally, the last one I'll show before I cut it off here is just our checklist screen. Checklists are a tool that we have so that when an application is in any one individual stage in the system, you can go through and have a list of items that you have to complete in order to complete your due diligence, and the system won't let you move through applications until you have completed all of those items. So that really allows us to control the applications through the process and make sure we're doing everything we need to do. Again, if you'd like to see more about this, please reach out to us. Happy to do another demo, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, you guys should see just a final slide here. I took back over control just to announce our next upcoming webinar. If you'd like to participate in that, we will certainly share more details as follow-up. On July 14th at 1 p.m. Eastern time, we are going to provide another demonstration. It'll be a little bit longer, more in-depth session, kind of more like the one we had on May 26th. That goes through our solution model a little bit more in depth across all the topics that we covered very high level today. If you have any questions or would like a tailored presentation for your agency and discuss your specific needs, please reach out to us. We'd be happy to do that, and we do record those so you have the time to review those with additional staff as needed. So please know that that's available, and we look forward to talking with you further. And you can see my contact information here to set that up. And we will be following up with the recording of this presentation, as well as all the details we talked about today, and the Zoom meeting link that was posted in the chat. That'll be available to you in our follow-up letter. So we appreciate your time and look forward to speaking with you again soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.